Hi, it's Neevin here. So, over the past few days, maybe even a week since this thing been going on for a while, I've been keeping an eye on everything before making a video. I always like to wait and see where things go first, just to know if I can make a video with an actual ending. So, there's been some noise lately about an artist who refused to draw things they don't personally believe in. Let's go through the posts. Well, gang, I wouldn't recommend trying to commission if you're a queer person, I guess. And then, attached to that, there's the artist's message, what he actually wrote to him. Let's read that one too. I truly apologize for the mistake of adding you before carefully reviewing it. He started politely, admitting it was his mistake for not checking the request earlier. I won't be able to work on this piece as I don't draw queer couples. This is the main point. He refuses commissions involving queer couples. Please know it's absolutely nothing against your character or idea. It simply comes from my personal religious belief. He tries to make it clear it's not hate or discrimination, but a personal religious boundary. I deeply apologize for not clarifying this earlier. I truly appreciate your understanding. He emphasizes regret again and thanks the client for understanding, showing he's trying to stay polite and respectful. The issue is about boundaries versus discrimination. He's saying I can't draw this because of my beliefs, not I hate queer people. When you actually read this message, he's not being hateful. He's polite, respectful, and apologizes multiple times. What he's basically saying is, this just goes against my personal beliefs, and I'm sorry for the confusion. Personally, I don't think you can or should force an artist to draw something they're not comfortable with. Art is personal expression, not a public service. If someone has certain values or limits, especially ones connected to their faith, that's their right. It doesn't mean they hate anyone. It just means they're setting boundaries for what they want their art to represent. And honestly, as long as they're respectful about it, like this person clearly was, that should be perfectly fine. Now let's move to how people reacted, because of course the internet took it way out of proportion. Be an artist, queer wants to commission gay art, politely refused because of religious beliefs, gets formed by the loving and accepting community. You don't hate them enough. Exactly. He apologized, explained himself clearly, and stayed respectful. I don't think there's anything else he needed to do. We just want to exist at a community when someone disagrees for a fraction of a second. You can't force someone to believe in what you believe. That's literally how conflicts, even wars, start. I love how much of a problem it is for the loving and accepting crowd to get an extremely respectful no for an answer. It doesn't fit their worldview that someone disagrees with their beliefs, and as such, they try to bully them on the internet. A timeless classic. Exactly. It's like the moment someone disagrees, the acceptance part suddenly disappears. So after a day, the artist responded to everything that happened. I didn't expect this would blow up. I'm very sorry for the disheartening experience of what happened to the past client. He stands with empathy and takes the situation seriously right from the beginning. He doesn't get defensive or make excuses, just acknowledges the other person's feeling. I just opened VGen a few days ago and was not aware of how the system worked. It was completely my fault for not checking and understanding how request submissions are done. He admits his own mistake clearly and takes full responsibility for the misunderstanding. There is no attempt to shift blame. He explained that this was a technical mistake, not personal bias. I wrote an important note saying do and don't will be discussed in DMs, since I was used to how other platforms worked. He provides context that makes sense. He's used to discussing commission privately before accepting them, but VGen system doesn't allow that. That's a reasonable human error, not malice or discrimination. No, I'm not a queer phobic. I'm surrounded by many kind of queer people who have helped shape me into a kinder person. He addresses the accusation respectfully, not defensively. He's not trying to prove he's a good person. He's showing gratitude toward the community and explaining that his beliefs don't equal hate. I choose not to engage in activities related to queer relationships while still being friends with queer people. He admits that his decision created misunderstanding even though it came from a personal comfort zone. This shows self-awareness. He understands how his boundary might have been perceived and he regrets the lack of clarity. I take full responsibility for the misunderstanding and will make sure this never happens again. I will update and rebuild my page with clear guidelines and info. This is real accountability, not just saying sorry, but explaining concrete steps he will take to prevent it from happening again. This is how responsible communication works. I deeply apologize to those who felt uncomfortable because of my lack of awareness. The phrasing here matters. It doesn't say I'm sorry you were offended, but I'm sorry for my lack of awareness. You take ownership instead of blaming the audience reaction. Thank you to everyone who took the time to point it out. I truly appreciate the chance to learn and grow from this. I hope we can be peaceful. He ends with humility, showing a genuine wish for peace and growth. No bitterness, no anger, just understanding and gratitude. It leaves a calm, respectful impression. This is what I think. This is how you handle a situation. He didn't attack, argue, or make it about himself. He took accountability, explained the misunderstanding, and promised to fix it. He approached it with empathy, professionalism, and self-awareness. Even though he didn't owe anyone an apology for his personal beliefs, he still chose to handle it with kindness and transparency. That shows real integrity. Not weakness, but strength. By the way, Richie made his account private, and I think this isn't the first time he's done that. Seeing that homophobic artist go from 1.9 to 7.3 in a span of a day makes me sad, lol. Like, I want a fraction of that type of growth too. What exactly did you do to earn this kind of growth? And just to be clear, declining a commission on religious grounds isn't homophobia. He apologized, explained his boundary, and said no respectfully. The problem isn't hate, it's that some people can't handle hearing no. Hey buddy, there's also a rule in VGen you're not allowed to decline due to discriminatory reasons such as race, gender, sexuality. You have the right to decline, but as long as it's not for discrimination reasons, you're good. Declining a piece because of personal or religious beliefs isn't discrimination. It's called having boundaries. And let's check what the actual TOS says about that. Okay, so the TOS literally says, I reserve the right to decline any request that I'm not comfortable drawing. That means he already set boundary publicly and clearly. It's not discrimination, it's following his own stated terms. You're a vow person. We know they have the right to decline it. That doesn't make them any less of a terrible person for doing so. Also, calling it ideology is interesting, lol. Having personal beliefs doesn't make someone vile. He declined politely, explained his reasons, and followed his own terms. That's not cruelty, that's integrity. Disagreeing with someone's faith doesn't give you the right to demonize them. So, after 2 days, Richie made a post, supposedly an apology, but when you look at it closely, it's really just full justification for everything he did. Let's go over the key parts. I don't condone any form of harassment. I never sent threats or told others to do so. He opens by distancing himself from the harassment, which sounds responsible, but he admits later that he was the one who shared the DMs publicly. You don't have to personally send threats to cause harassment. Posting private messages to a public audience enables it. This is a classic I didn't do it, but I made a possible contradiction. I did share my DMs with them through VGen. I never had any ill intentions. It was simply to warn my queer mutual. Here he tries to justify sharing private messages. Saying it was to warn others sounds like a noble reason. But the truth is, that's how online callouts start. He could have warned people privately or reported it through the platform. Sharing screenshots publicly turned it from a warning into a public shaming campaign. The artist did not specify excluding queers in their TOS. This line shows he's trying to shift the blame onto the artist, but the artist did include the right to decline commissions they're uncomfortable with, which automatically covers this case. It's not about the client's identity, it's about the content of the commission. I don't agree that just because they were polite, we should excuse queerphobia. This sentence reveals his entire mindset. He's labeling a respectful refusal as queerphobia. There was no insult or attack, only a boundary based on belief. He's reframing disagreement as hatred, which is false equivalence and emotionally manipulative. I will stand by everything I've said. I don't believe heterophobia exists, neither do I believe in white racism. Here he exposes his ideological bias. He's not interested in equality. He's interested in hierarchy. He denies the possibility of discrimination against certain groups entirely, which shows selective empathy. It's hard to take someone's moral argument seriously when it only applies to people they personally like. My account was private with replies locked. I'm not obligated to have conversations with bigots. He's admitting he doesn't want dialogue, just to broadcast his view without challenge. Calling everyone who disagrees bigots is a defense mechanism to shut down criticism. It shows he's not open to discussions, only validation. Thank you guys. Everyone else get more #woke now. This closing line removes any doubt. It's not an apology. It's more grandstanding. Instead of reflection, he mocks anyone who disagrees. The tone completely contradicts his opening statement about no ill intention. So this isn't an apology. It's a self-defense essay dressed up as one. He says he doesn't support harassment but justifies the exact action that caused it. He refuses to take accountability, dismiss entire groups of people, and ends up mocking everyone who disagrees. That's not growth or awareness. That's self-righteousness disguised as victimhood. After what Richie called his so-called apology, the artist made another post. Let's go through the key parts since this one is a bit longer. I'm sorry for leaving this account without updates. I spent time reading, observing, and trying to understand various perspectives. He starts with humility and reflection, not defensiveness. He shows he took time to listen instead of rushing to defend himself. Unlike Richie, who immediately reacted emotionally, the artist waited, listened, and processed before speaking. I kept the replies open because I believe everyone has their own view and there's nothing wrong with sharing them respectfully. This signals transparency and emotional maturity. He didn't run from the conversation, he allowed others to voice opinions freely. Richie, on the other side, lacked replies and avoided open dialogue. Among the many messages I received, I want to express my deepest gratitude to those who offered their support and kindness. He focuses on gratitude instead of resentment. Even under pressure, he acknowledges kindness first. That builds trust and groundedness. I will continue to stand by my decision and have since updated my VGen terms of service. Moving forward, I'll make sure to be more mindful and do true research before making any decision. He doesn't apologize for his beliefs, he apologizes for the confusion around them. He's not backing down, just becoming clearer and more professional. Richie doubled down emotionally, the artist adjusted practically. I reached out to the VGen team. They confirmed I'm allowed to decline clients' requests based on personal boundaries and that it doesn't violate TOS. He did the most responsible thing possible. Verified facts directly with the source, no drama, no assumption, just fact. While others made claims about discrimination, he went straight to the platform for confirmation. There have been various forms of misinformation spreading about me. One of it being me having drawn porn or NSFW. He calmly addresses false rumors without being emotionally or hostile. He lists the claims, clears them up, and moves on, factual and level-headed. I don't hold any resentment toward those who misunderstood or spoke out of confusion. I understand how quickly things can escalate online. That's emotional intelligence in action. No name-calling, no hate, just understanding. He sees people as mistaken, not malicious. I sincerely apologize regarding my recent WhatsApp status. It was reckless of me to upload it, and I understand how it could have been interpreted differently. A direct, responsible apology with zero excuses. He admits fault clearly and shows it completely. Richie's apology was mostly self-defense. This is actual accountability. Everyone deserves kindness and respect, even in disagreement. This is moral center of the post. I call for mutual respect over ideology. While Richie used a vision to justify himself, the artist promotes peace and empathy. Moving onwards, I will always keep my head high to respect every religion, sexuality, and race. I hold no hatred or discrimination towards queer people. He restates his stance calmly and inclusively, not out of guilt, but to clarify his values. He's not performing, he's being sincere. With all due respect, I wish everyone not to continue the conflict between queer and non-queer individuals. I hope this can be a moment of reflection and understanding, not division. He ends on unity, not victory. It's not I won, it's let's heal. Richie ended with mockery. The artist ends with reconciliation. This response shows a clear difference between reacting and reflecting. Where Richie fueled division, the artist chose dialogue. Where Richie justified himself, the artist took responsibility. Where Richie mocked, the artist apologized and clarified. He didn't just defend his boundary, he proved he can hold it with grace, professionalism, and empathy. This isn't damage control pose. It's genuine maturity in action. 19 years old artist, maturity and professionalism. Meanwhile, 22 years old drama queen, the one who stirred up the harassment. So let me get this straight. He demands empathy and understanding for queer people, yet turns around and mocks men's mental health. You can claim to stand for compassion while picking and choosing who deserves basic respect. The 19-year-old handled everything with maturity, accountability, and grace. Meanwhile, the 22-year-old keeps proving this was not never about kindness, just self-righteousness. So after 4 days, VGen finally responded on Discord. Let's go through the key part. Thank you for taking the time to share your concern with us. We truly appreciate you bringing it to our attention. They start professionally and respectfully, showing that they took the report seriously. There is no bias or hostility, just acknowledgement and gratitude for raising the issue. VGen does not tolerate discrimination of any kind. Any violation of this policy results in administrative action. They reaffirm their zero-tolerance stance on discrimination. This is standard policy language, clear, firm, and universal. But they're setting this up to contrast it with the specific case, which wasn't discrimination, just a personal boundary. We are a global community. In certain areas, creating specific types of content can unfortunately carry serious legal risk for the artist. This part is crucial. They recognizing that cultural and legal differences exist. What's acceptable in one region might be risky or even illegal in another. By the way, I didn't mention it. The artist is probably a Muslim. I mean, he has this flag in his bio. I didn't get into it. I'm just pointing it out. So for this part, basically it shows VGen understand nuance. Not every refusal is discrimination. Sometimes it's about legality or belief. In the case being referenced, the artist declined the request politely and respectfully, explaining that doing so would go against their religious belief. This is the key line. VGen themselves confirmed that the artist acted respectfully and explained the reason clearly. They're officially stating that the artist's refusal was not hate-based, but a personal fate-related decision. There was no hateful or derogatory language used. If there had been, the situation would be viewed and handled very differently. This directly debunks the homophobia narrative. They're saying explicitly, if the artist had been hateful, there would have been consequences, but he wasn't. The respectful tone of the message is what makes the difference here. Ultimately, we cannot compel artists to create work they are not comfortable with, as long as the refusal is communicated respectfully and without prejudice. This sentence perfectly defines the balance between artistic freedom and respect. VGen is saying it plainly. An artist has the right to say no. Religion, personal comfort, or legal reasons, as long as they do it kindly. It's not discrimination, it's professional boundaries. We hope this helped clarify our position. Maintaining a respectful and inclusive environment is one of our core priorities. They close with a reminder that inclusivity doesn't mean forcing people. It means respect for everyone involved, both artists and clients. VGen is choosing balance, not sides. So here's what I think. This is the clearest possible statement they could have made. VGen confirmed exactly what most reasonable people already saw. The artist acted respectfully within his rights and didn't break any rules. They drew the line perfectly between freedom and fairness. No one should be forced to create something that goes against their beliefs, and no one should be disrespected for who they are. After days of outrage, the VGen message put the facts in plain sight. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and have a great day.